Hi. We asked 100 people to name a favourite midnight snack.
Pizza.
You say pizza. The survey says... yes, it's up there.
Get ready, Australia. The world's favourite game show is back.
10's bringing fun to 6 p.m.
Family Feud, coming to weeknights.
What does a man need? Beautiful stuff. The flavours of summer. Lovely smoky flavour. Like that. Fantastic. Straight into the fridge. Keep an eye on it. Certainly going to be tasty. Welcome to Rudesheim, right in the heart of wine country in the Rhine Valley. Now, where we are now is one of Germany's most famous streets. This is the Trockelgasse. It's a very, very tiny street, but it's full of cafes, and it looks fantastic, doesn't it? But in the 15th century, it was originally built for the boat owners to bring their goods up from the river to the houses up the top. Now, I don't know whether they had cafes in those days. May just have been full of pubs. Just as good. We are now in the Rhine Valley, which is famous the world over for its wonderful Rieslings. Rudesheim, its capital, has a checkered history dating back to the Romans and proceeding through numerous conflicts. But these days, it is a picturesque town with many tourist attractions, including my favourite, Siegfried's Cabinet. Our ship is now travelling along the Rhine River, which is in the middle of the Rhine Valley, which of course is famous for the most wonderful Rieslings. This is also one of the most photographed stretches of water in the world. I'd say millions of photographers have snapped away at what seemingly is a castle on every peak. Now look at that. Another castle. Now, you're all castled out. Just keep in mind that a bit further down is a place called the Loreley. It's a very deep, narrow stretch of the Rhine. And supposedly, legend has it, and I love the word supposedly, I always find it rather interesting. Supposedly, legend has it that a blonde nymph used to sit on top of it and lure sailors to their death with her feminine charms and her siren songs. I don't know whether I believe all legends. Well, our journey's almost finished. And here we are on the Amsterdam-Rhine Canal. So we're in Holland, or it's in the Netherlands, isn't it? Because Holland's just a province of the Netherlands. It's very peaceful. Look at this, and it's very fancy too. Look at the trees; they're all neat and tidy. The Dutch have always been like that. They're very, very meticulous people. So it's looking very meticulous. And what I'm doing, I'm going to do a Dutch steak, which we used to do many, many years ago in one of my restaurants, sort of. Anyway, so I got a nice piece of beef. Mr. Moon went and chatted up the chef in the kitchen of the Amabella. Nice piece of steak. And I just marinate it very, very briefly in some red wine vinegar, which just gives it a little bit of tartness, which is really nice. It gives it an extra bit of flavour. I hope you can hear me, because we've got a rather noisy boat going past us, which I'm sure you saw. Some olive oil, some salt and pepper. Quite a bit of pepper, guys. A decent amount of salt as well. We're going to cook it straight away, so you don't have to worry about this salt, because what happens, obviously, with salt is it draws out the blood, but if we're going to use it almost immediately, we're pretty right. All right, I've got the pan really hot. Now, I just want to seal this steak. You can put that leftover marinade on it. So I'm searing it, and then I'll pull it out. So I'm starting the cooking process, but I'm not finishing it.
The truth about Dr. Oz.
This miracle pill can burn fat fast.
In a Studio 10 investigation, is TV's favourite medic flogging weight loss products that simply don't work? Now, shocking new details from an insider who knows all. 8:30 Monday morning on Studio 10.
Want a beautiful smile? No problems. With amazing dental implants, Invisalign braces and all teeth-on-4 implants, Advanced Dental Services are experts and will keep you smiling. Want $1,000 off? Visit advanceddentalservices.com.au for details.
With the Australian Fleet Sales 1 Hour Finance Challenge, you could have a new car in your driveway tonight. Jump into your car, drive to your local Australian Fleet Sales dealership and take our 1 Hour Finance Challenge. You'll sit with our finance managers, they'll process your application, and within 1 hour, we'll have an answer for you. And if you're approved, you can select from over 800 quality used cars. If you want a new car in your driveway tonight, visit Australian Fleet Sales and take our 1 Hour Finance Challenge.
With unbelievably great prices, it's time to go to Pet Barn. You can hit the large bag dog food only $89. Save up to $43.47. Optimum 13 to 15 kilo dog food only $35. Offers end Sunday, so hurry into Pet Barn and save. Pet Barn, everything for pets.
Over the 9 to 5 grind, ChangeMyLife.tv can set you free. A home business with a difference, changing people's lives today. Flexible hours, training and support. Contact us now at ChangeMyLife.tv.
You may think you know Mexico. You don't. It's not filled with piñatas. Sombreros are for the tourists. As for the tacos, they're not just beef and cheese. With Old El Paso, you can make them your way. Tonight, shredded chicken. So, no more cliches. That's not a cliche. That's mariachi. Make it your way with Old El Paso.
Freya and her family were excited to be invited to a party at Beechwood Hall. All of Freya's friends were there to celebrate and couldn't wait to eat cake. As night fell, they turned on the lights. It's good to be home with Sylvanian families.
If your digestive system is out of balance, you may not feel 100%. That's why I recommend Nature's Way Restore Probiotics. They're experts at helping restore digestive balance. Restore is specially formulated with a pre- and probiotic to help relieve gas, bloating, bowel and digestive issues, support immunity, and restore your general well-being. That's why it's called Restore, only from Nature's Way.
Right, so our steak's seared on both sides. We've got a bit of crustiness there, which is always nice because that adds some caramelised flavours to what we're doing. A little bit more oil, definitely some butter to add some good flavour to it. And then we've got some leeks. Now, I'm only doing one steak, so I've got one large leek. But, you know, if you were doing more, obviously you'd put more in. It's pretty logical, isn't it? And just scrape the bottom, just get all those nice caramelised steak juices into the sauce. And then what we will do is we will add a scant tablespoon of flour. And when I say scant, I mean that that's just a bit of a thickening agent for the sauce. And make sure you cook that, otherwise you get a raw flour flavour, and we don't want that. Now, Dutch steak. They're pretty keen on beer in Holland, so a little bit of nice Dutch lager. Also some beef stock. People make a mistake when they cook things with beer and with wine, is they just think we cook it just with wine. And what happens then, you get this flavour that's bitter because all you've got is wine. So you always put some stock in it, and you always put a little bit of sugar, brown or white, and that just takes away a little bit of the acidity. I'm also going to throw in some canned diced tomatoes, about half a can, a few sprigs of thyme, some chopped parsley, some freshly ground pepper, once again quite a bit of that, and then I'm going to cook that until it's thick and fragrant. Make sure you just take the leek off the side, and when that sauce is fairly thick, what we will do is we'll return the steak to it and cook it to the desired degree. Now, I didn't tell you this, so don't you dare mention it to anyone else, but if you like your steak a bit well done-ish, this will work. You just turn it down very low when you put that steak back in, and you cook it very gently, and what will happen is you'll get a tender, moist, overcooked steak. But if you like it rare like me, you put it in for less, don't you? All right, this is looking good, particularly for me. Let's just whip it off. Now, you can leave it whole if you like, or you can slice it. And the other thing is you can leave that bit of fat on, or you can take it off. I'll take it off today, but that's up to you. And then we'll just slice it into some thickish slices. Gee, that's a nice steak, isn't it? Look how that's cutting, that's beautiful. And then let's just put it on the plate. Excuse fingers. And I'll just have a taste of that sauce. Just see if it needs some seasoning. Shouldn't. I'll tell you one thing, it's hot. No, that's a terrific sauce. Lovely flavours, that. Make sure you get plenty of the leeks on top and leave the thyme behind. And to serve, I would say just some nice boiled baby potatoes would be absolutely wonderful with this. And plenty of sauce, please, guys, because that's what makes the dish. Parsley on top, just a little bit like that. And we're in business. So, celebrating the fact that we are now in the Netherlands, a very tasty Dutch steak. Now, I've always loved soups made with root vegetables. There's something, because it gives it body, there's something about it, isn't there? And what I've got here is I'm doing one slightly different. It's not Asian, it's got coconut cream in it, but it's not an Asian soup as such. Just have a look here, Wayne. I've got 2 large onions, a good knob of ginger grated, and 2 large cloves of garlic. And I've just sautéed those in vegetable oil. And just stay there, mate, because I'm coming back with my sweet potatoes. I've got 3 pretty good-sized sweet potatoes, which I'm going to throw in there. They don't need to be sautéed. And look, you could, if you're in a real hurry, you could just throw the whole lot into some stock. But I'm in not that kind of hurry. I'm all right. I got a little bit more time. Right, won't make any difference. Well, it will make a difference because the sautéing of the onions accentuates their flavour. So 1.5 litres of vegetable or chicken stock. I'm putting vegetable in here today. You just want to cover it really well, so I'll keep a bit of that behind because that's looking pretty good. And now, are we low salt on this? Yes, we are. So a little bit of salt in there as well. And then the lid on that. And cook that until those vegetables are really tender. I want those sweet potatoes really, really falling apart so that it'll thicken the soup and add the extra flavour. I would say about half an hour. All right, our soup's looking good. Now we just add almost a cup of coconut cream. I'll keep a little bit to put on top of the soup. And just a bit of a chop of some coriander, just roughly chopped, just like that. Make sure it's washed. Doesn't matter a few stalks, that just gives them a nice flavour. That'll give it some colour. And then all we're going to do is bring that back to the boil, give it a bit of a whiz around, and then I will blend it with my little hand blender. Check the seasoning at the very end. All right, guys, a delightful soup, easy to make, tastes good.
MasterChef World Cup is here.
These teams will serve up some goal-scoring dishes. But Team America has a secret weapon.
A main course with popcorn. The MasterChef World Cup, Sunday on 10.
Save the date this weekend. Thanks to the Saturday Daily Telegraph, the Sunday Telegraph and Westpac, it could change your life and help you own your dream home sooner. You can win a share of a life-changing $200,000 in a Westpac term deposit over 3 weeks. Over 2 weekends, 10 readers will win $10,000 each, and all entries go into the additional draw for $100,000 in the final week. Don't miss your daily code words this weekend. Buy the Saturday Daily Telegraph and the Sunday Telegraph for your chance to win.
What are we going to do today?
Stay strong. Take on the heat. Bounce back.
Get healthy-looking hair that stands up to styling. Discover Platinum Strength, new from Tresemme. It reverses the look of up to 2 years of damage by reinforcing hair's natural protective barrier. For resilient hair with all its beautiful strength. What will you do with your salon-strong, chair-worthy hair? Tresemme. Professional. Affordable.
You may think you know Mexico. You don't. It's not filled with piñatas. Sombreros are for the tourists. As for the tacos, they're not just beef and cheese. With Old El Paso, you can make them your way. Tonight, shredded chicken. So, no more cliches. That's not a cliche. That's mariachi. Make it your way with Old El Paso.
Do you dream about all those cool things you'd love to do or one-day experience? Escape ordinary today. Our deal has amazing discounts on a huge range of exclusive offers, like a relaxing beach resort holiday, a 5-star city getaway, a luxurious high tea, or an amazing scuba diving experience. At ourdeal.com.au, you can save heaps on exclusive member offers and more. Exciting new deals start and end every day, so jump online now. Ourdeal.com.au. Escape ordinary.
Cologne is Germany's 4th largest city and a major cultural centre with an exceptionally vibrant art scene. It is home to over 30 museums and hundreds of galleries, and also to its most famous landmark, the Cologne Cathedral. I also appreciated the city's motto, which is live and let live, which seems highly appropriate in this multicultural city. So, we're coming to Amsterdam, and they have a very strong Indonesian culture because, you know, the Dutch East Indies. So they have a thing called a rijsttafel, which is a wonderful feast all built around some rice and a whole lot of sambals and bits and pieces. Absolutely superb. Now, I wish I could cook all that, but I can't. So what I'm going to do is Nasi Goreng. While that's heating up, what we'll do is make a little sambal to go with it, a tomato sambal. It's very similar to a salsa. It's the same kind of thing. Just some quartered cherry tomatoes, some shallots, and a combination of chili and garlic. Now, I think the chilies are going to be very hot here. They were very tiny. And then some chopped coriander and some fresh lime juice and a little bit of salt and pepper. And I always add some oil to it. And while I'm doing that, I'll put a slurp of oil in the wok. And then last but not least, just some salt. Now, we'll mix that up and we will leave that to sit just to develop its flavour. So you always make that first. And break up those shallots. But as I said, it's just really very, very similar to a salsa. Now, next, we've got our wok reasonably hot. You don't want it absolutely boiling. Put some shallots in there. This is to do the Nasi Goreng itself. And also that chili and garlic mix. And all we're going to do is just heat that up. Saute until it's reasonably tender. Just break those shallots up so you don't get big lumps. Can I tell you, those chilies are going to be strong. I hope you like hot Nasi Goreng. So you go to different countries, you don't know what their chilies are like. Well, I just got a whiff and nearly choked to death. So they are going to be rather hot. So in there we put some cherry tomatoes, about a tablespoon of ketchup mayonnaise, which is the Indonesian sweet soy, and also some shredded cabbage. I couldn't get any wonggabok, which is the Chinese one, or wongbok as they often call it, so I'm using Savoy, which is fine. So we just saute that until that cabbage wilts a bit. And then we start adding the rice. Now, I've cooked the rice the day before, and I advocate you don't do it in a rice cooker because that still comes out a bit gluggy. So you need to cook it by the absorption method, which means you do it in a pot. You're supposed to cover it with water up to your first knuckle. And I've always been intrigued by this because I've got short, stubby fingers, haven't I? So what happens if you've got long pianist fingers? Oh, I don't know. That's the idea anyway. You cook it gently until the water is absorbed. See, Mr. Moon did this. Didn't he do a good job? He loves Asian food, so he obviously knows what he's doing, except for the fact that I'm getting rice all over me, doing it like that. I think I'll do it with a spoon. All right, so you keep adding the rice bit by bit, which what that will mean is it will break up, so you won't end up with these big lumps of rice. If you put the whole lot in, you would. All right, we're looking pretty good there, so let's just have a little taste. Just see if it needs any more ketchup mayonnaise or even some salt. Certainly needs a little bit more ketchup. And a smidgen of salt. Just mix that in. So what I'm going to serve that with is, you always put a fried egg on top and you can then sprinkle it with the salsa if you like, or you can serve the salsa on the side. See, I'm calling it a salsa. I really should be calling it a sambal. Ah, well. But you've seen me cook fried eggs 1,000 times, so you didn't have to watch that. My Nasi Goreng. It looked nice. Trust me. Amsterdam is a great tourist city. From its canals to its world-famous museums and historical sites, there is something for everyone to see. Its name is indicative of its origin, a dam on the River Amstel. And interestingly, it is the capital of the Netherlands, not Holland as it's often thought. Holland is, in fact, the name of 2 provinces in the Netherlands. But that aside, I love visiting here. The food is good, the locals are friendly, and a visit to the Van Gogh or Rijksmuseum will soothe the soul. And then there is the rather risque red light district. Enough said. When you come to Amsterdam, of course, the first thing you notice are the canals. Everyone seems to be on them, everyone seems to be having fun. But they were developed for a more practical reason. In the 17th century, when immigration was at its peak, they decided to develop 4 canals to help with residential development, drainage, and public transport. Although, these days, I think most people would agree, the bicycle has taken over as the preferred mode of transport. The American Hotel, built in 1880, quickly became a place of great character and intrigue. It soon was the place to be seen for writers, artists, students, and people of a certain political bent. Now, my dear new friend Iain, our guide, tells me that it was so much the place to be seen that people from Amsterdam, like writers and successful artists, instead of having a holiday away, they'd have a holiday here. They still lived in Amsterdam, they'd come here. I think that it's quite funny. It was also the site of Matahari, you know, the famous World War I, wasn't it? Yeah, World War I spy. It was the scene of her wedding reception in 1894. And to this day, it is still a trendy place to be seen. Wonder whether they'll let me in. Don't think so. Now, we're in Amsterdam and we're at the company of Repenaar. Now, it's a very interesting cheese shop because they actually don't make the cheese. What they do is they mature it. They have this wonderful warehouse which is at the perfect temperature for ripening cheeses, and all these cheeses are put in there, and when they're at their very, very best, they sell them. I know a couple of people are doing that in Australia now, but it is a more important, no, I can't say that. I was going to say a more important thing than the making. Of course they have to make it. But cheese is often sold when it's not at its very best. A place like this, perfect cheese every time. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to have a taste. See, that is brilliant. That is at its best. Well, I've had my dessert, I've had my snack, now for my main course, herrings. I like the blessed things, I really do. Now, we've got two styles here. We've got the whole one there, but in the other parts of the Netherlands, they just swallow it whole. They really do, chomp, 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 chomp. I'm not doing that because in Amsterdam, they're a little bit more genteel like me, and they slice it up before they actually eat it. Far better idea. So, I'm going to try that. Oh, that's nice. Some pickles on the side. Just some finely chopped raw onion. This is my kind of town. I've had a wonderful journey on the Amber Verde and the Amber Bella from Budapest to Amsterdam. Now, I'm sorry to say we've reached Amsterdam and that's the end. And I'll tell you why I'm sorry to say, because I've made a lot of good friends, and that includes the crew who have been wonderful and have shown me what good hospitality is about. So next time you get on one of these ships, you say Huey sent you. It won't make any difference to the wonderful service and the food because you'll get exactly the same as everyone else. It'll make me feel special. All right, cheers. Now, guys, you ready? All in all, I've had a wonderful time and would highly recommend this holiday to anyone who wants to travel throughout Europe in style. But until the next time, this is Huey signing off from Amsterdam. Cheers. This fantastic destination was part of our APT European River Cruise. For details on this cruise and more, go to aptouring.com.au or call them on 1300 196 420.
If you'd like any recipes from today's show, please visit our website, hueyskitchen.com.au for written recipes in our online shop, or send a stamped self-addressed envelope to PO Box 2219, St Kilda West, Victoria 3182. Cheers.
Versus Team Morocco versus Team Vietnam.
Who should we taste first?
MasterChef, Sunday on 10.